guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nancy, and if you're new here, please remember to subscribe, to give me a thumbs up, and also to drop me a comment down below. So today's topic is interesting because this is something that has been on my mind for quite some time now, and I said, you know what, let me just share my 2 cents on the issue, which is feminism, toxic feminism. For the longest time, I've identified myself as a feminist. I still do, because I've just said, you know what, let me just forget about all this toxic femininity that's out there, all these negative things that have been associated with feminism, because altogether I love the concept of feminism, because I think that it's powerful that women come together in supporting each other and just pushing each other forward, and I'm really grateful for the women that have really fought hard and paved way for us women today to be where we are, because I know that there are women who are out there and just conquering the world, being bosses, being leaders and things like that. So I'm really grateful to the women that have paved way for us. However, I just wanted to come here and just talk about the negative side of feminism, the toxic feminism. So there's I remember back then there's a page that I used to follow on Facebook. It's a feminist page, and I think the author of that page is also identifies themselves as a feminist. But I think for me that page and the content that used to be posted was an eye opener for me, and I discovered that, okay, so there are all, in as much as feminism is a good concept, there's also this group of women feminists, who identify themselves as feminists, who are just angry at life, who seem to be angry at life, who seem to be against men, who seem to be at odds with the men, and I think I didn't like that. And when I realized that, I stayed on the page for a while because I wanted to see where the whole idea was going. And with time I said, this is not it, this is really toxic, because it painted that picture that women are angry, women just want to bring this other gender down, to step on this other gender so that they can elevate themselves. And I think for me, feminism has got nothing to do with that. Feminism is such a beautiful concept, and each and every woman must embrace and just try to support other women. And so I think when I came across the idea of feminism, I quickly jumped on the wagon. Like I said, I think it's an idea that resonated with me, and I realized that most of these powerful women out there that people look up to identify themselves as feminists. So it was something cool at the time, and something that I didn't really understand, and so I started to dig into the feminist literature. I read some books, I listened to some podcasts on feminism, I watched some YouTube videos on feminism, and it was I think it was a bittersweet experience for me, because some videos were good and they really elevated me as a person. However, the other stuff that I came across with, just put me out. Like, they just disappointed me in a way, because again, it presented there's this group of I would call them extreme feminists out there, who are supporting the idea that men need to be brought down, men need to move out the way so that the women can have their way, which is not good. I think for me, I remember a time when I came across Myles Munroe's books. I remember I worked with this friend of mine who gave me some audiobooks, like a whole bunch of audiobooks, and each day he would remind me, Nancy, have you listened to those books? Have you listened to those books? And I kept on lying to him, say, I didn't have time, just a bunch of excuses that I would give him, But he kept on, he insisted until eventually I just gave in and said, I don't like, because personally I don't like lying. Lying is, it's an awful thing, like, for me to do. So I try by all means to avoid lies. So I said, let me just see what this is about. So I started listening to those audiobooks, and also additionally watched his teachings on YouTube. Generally, what I got from his teachings about men and women is that men and women's nature are different. Men are different from women. Biologically, we all know that a man is different from a woman, and as a result, the way we do things is different. It's not that men deliberately want to dominate women. They want to head over women. They want to be in positions of leadership. They want to be in positions of ownership. It's not that it's a deliberate move on their part, but that's their nature. It's part of their nature to take the lead. And as women, it's also part of our nature to take a more kind of to be a more kind of laid back when it comes to things, and I think that's okay. I think it's important to understand our nature in terms of our needs, in terms of our capabilities. For women, I think it's just an undisputable fact that men and women are different. I think this is something that we can all see, that we've all experienced. I mean, if you're like me, you grew up with brothers, you realize that their interests were not necessarily your interests. There could be some things that you would have wanted to do that maybe your brothers did, but you find that generally guys just from the time they are young. I have a son, a young boy, and I realize that from him being a baby, you can tell that, okay, this is a man. I'm raising a young man here. In as much as he is a baby, you can see all those manly traits in him. So that tells us how men and women are different, and it's important for us to acknowledge those differences so that we can coexist. You'll never go anywhere in life if you try to step on someone to elevate yourself. You are fighting a losing battle. We don't need to be at odds with each other, but we need to understand each other and elevate each other. Okay, so coming back to Myles Munroe's teaching, he also highlighted that a man's greatest need is respect, and a woman's greatest need is love. Apart from Myles Munroe's teaching, there's also this YouTuber that I follow, and they also have a page on Instagram called Love and Respect. Doctor, the author of this book, explicitly also explains a man's deepest need and a woman's deepest need, which is love and respect, because this idea of love and respect originates from the Bible, actually, And if you're a Christian, you know that God created us and God knows who we are. God knows that a woman's deepest need is love. A man's deepest need is respect. So whenever a couple is in a fight or an argument, you find that the issue there is not even the main issue, okay? The main issue there would be love and respect. People from outside will see a couple, fighting because of this and that. But at the core of their conflict, you find that the real issue there is love and respect. The man will respond, oh, she does not respect me. And the woman will retaliate and say, he does not love me, and vice versa. And so it's very important to understand our different natures as men and women. Like that, we'll be able to coexist and move forward together. When I think about the oppression of women in the past, I think about slavery, I think about apartheid, I think about the Holocaust and many other historical events that have occurred. I believe that, being a historian myself, having that background in history, I've seen that the oppression of a human being really brings on um, consequences, or you know, bad effects on society. So the oppression of women gave rise to the feminist movements, gave rise to all these women and children's rights. Apartheid gave rise to, crime, the same as slavery, the same as the Holocaust. Also, all these um, different forms of oppression, resulted into something else. Some results were good and some results were bad. And up to now, you find that the effects of these things are still being felt. So, and as women, instead of trying to learn from that, again, we want to bring this, other group of people down. We want to oppress this other group of people in order to elevate ourselves. I think it's important to learn from history, so that we do not repeat history. Because where a human being is oppressed, there will always be bad effects. There will always be consequences, because you can't oppress a human being. We are free spirited individuals, and whenever you feel like something or someone is stepping on you, we'll always retaliate, we'll always put up a fight. And it's the same with that toxic feminism. The women are out there, trying to bring the men down, trying to kick the men out of the way, so that women can have all these equal opportunities. That's good, as long as each and every person, works hard and works hard to attain that opportunity. I think life presents opportunities to each and every one of us. For example, education. These days, education does not exclude anyone. Though it was a different story back then, the women remained home while the men went to school. However, things have changed now. Women, we all have equal opportunities to life. There are some things that are still in the process of change. However, like, as a society, we are still progressing. No wonder it's important to understand our history, and also to understand how far we've come and where we are going. Because when you have that understanding, you will not judge anyone. You know you will not be angry at anything, but you will move with that understanding to say, oh, we are still, this thing is still in the process of changing. And this is where you must come in as an individual, to fight and bring about the change that you want to see, to be the change that you want to see in the world, as people say. So I've seen most women, let me just talk about this as well. I've seen most women in trying to, because at the end of the day, you realize that you can't fight the men, you can't fight this other gender. So in trying to in trying to be relevant, I've seen like most girls and women are trying to be like the men now, doing what the men can do. Women have moved away from embracing their feminine, from embracing their feminism, their womanhood, the girly trait, in trying to be like men. Women are now believe that they can do what men can do, which is, to me, unattractive. Yes, of course you can do what men can do, but there are good things that you can aspire for to do that men have done. However, I think that is killing that the feminine side of us. I think we are killing it in order to fit in into with this other gender. I don't know why women struggle so much. I think with the guys, guys are just there, being themselves all the time and just enjoying life, doing the things they love. I'll give an example of soccer. Soccer has to do with interest, and I know that most people love soccer, but lately I've seen most women, trying to, even if it's not your thing, if it's your thing, that's fine. If it's your thing, you love soccer, you're sporty and things like that, fine. But lately I've just seen like most women trying to, sake of, just for the sake of trying to be like the men, they're also trying to, get hooked on soccer, and, just And I think for me, that's just, it drains me when I see such things, you know. At the end of the day, in trying to do something in order for you to please someone or in order for you to be like someone, you are just wasting your own time. At the end of the day, it's important to do those things that interest you as an individual, you know. You don't need to be interested in soccer simply because you know you want to challenge a man that you also know something about soccer. You want to hold a conversation with this person. If soccer is not your interest, fine, it's not your interest, you know. If there are so many things that I've seen lately women diving into because they want to compete with the men. I mean, for me, I believe that doing such things is just, you know, fighting a losing battle, because at the end of the day, I think each one of us should embrace our nature. You know, as women, we have our own nature. We have things that interest us. We have things that really make us happy, you know, flowers, things like that, you know. Um yeah, so simple things like that, you know, making a home, cooking, those are things that make us happy, you know. I'm not trying to downgrade women. I'm not trying to say that women who are out there being bosses, being in leadership roles, are not happy being where they are, you know. Again, at the end of the day, it's about what makes you happy as an individual. It's about your goals in life. It's about where you want to be in life. But I believe that in as much as you try to pursue those things, do not lose touch with with your femininity, you know, because at the end of the day, when we go against our nature, it hurts, you know. It's like it's like caging a bird, you know. The nature of a bird is to fly around and just be free. So when you cage a bird in a cage, you are hurting that animal, you know, because animals have their habitat where they thrive as they are. So if you take that animal from its habitat, you know, you bring it home, you cage it, at the end of the day, that animal will not really you know, progress into what it's meant to be, will not really thrive, you know, because you are killing it. You are slowly killing it by taking it out of its habitat, taking it out of its nature, you know. And it's like that as human beings as well. We have our own natures and we thrive by embracing our natures, you know. So men and women are different. It's very important to acknowledge that fact, you know. It's very important to acknowledge that, because it will help us as a society to coexist and to progress. So if you liked my video, please remember to leave me a comment as well as to give me a thumbs up. So thank you so much, guys, for taking your time to watch this video. I really appreciate the support, and see you in my next video.